Hello and welcome to the StrangePlay podcast. I'm Rik.
I'm Simon.
And this is our rundown of all the news from July 2017.
Oh, parts of it.
Well, the best bits.
The best bits.
Say the best bits, like everything you've got is miserable.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, once again, Simon has compiled a list of the highlights of the news of July 2017, and we are going to begin our rundown now. What you got first for us, Simon?
Right. In news that I didn't see coming at all, the Crash Remastered has become the year's fastest selling game after Ghost Recon Wildlands. It sold fucking loads in its opening weekend. I didn't even think Crash Bandicoot was that big of a thing. Is very much the tail end of that 90s mascot Joe platforming thing for me. So yeah, to see his rise in popularity just fucking blows my mind.
How much did it do?
It doesn't actually say how many units are sold. But yeah, it sold fucking loads. Like, a ridiculous amount. Top 10 in full were Crash Trilogy, Micro Machines, GTA 5, Forza Horizon 3, and FIFA 17.
That's insane. Surprising to see Micro Machines at number 2 as well, though.
Yeah, because you won't think that a bit... I mean, that's another blast from the past, isn't it? That's like another 90s thing.
Yeah, big time. And a little bit disappointing.
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, it's alright for the first hour or so, and then it gets a bit repetitive.
You could say that about most driving games, though, can't you? I think the best played in... Is it got local in it?
It's competitive only, so it's local and online, but even the single player stuff is online. Like, you can't just do like a GP like you could in the Mega Drive one. You've got to race online. And it's
that's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crash Remastered has like totally swept up this month.
I'll tell you what though, well deserved, because we're playing through it at the moment and it's awesome.
Yeah, one of my friends he played through it and he's been falling over it. He's been frothing at the moment. Like, he's got 100% on each one.
That's insane.
I think he finished it like last week. I didn't get all the trophies on it, but yeah, he really hammered it.
That's insane. Mass respect to that, because this segues nicely into the next story. Dev confirms the Crash Bandicoot remaster is harder than the original.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, it is insanely different. It's something to do with the jumping physics, because it's been totally remade. Like, it works slightly different.
Yeah, the way it works now is when you jump and you hold, like, you keep the jump button held, he does like a bigger jump, like a higher jump. And then before, when you release it, he drops out of the jump. Now, he drops out of the jump quicker.
Yeah.
So, if you're jumping and you're like halfway through an arc, then you let go, he drops. Whereas before, he'd still move a few frames before dropping. Mm. So it's a more harsh drop after the jump, and people are still trying to get used to it.
Yeah, I remember him saying, "Hey, I got stuck on this level," and he actually uploaded it to YouTube. It was one of those Joe Bridge levels where you to like stomp on turtles and stuff to bounce across them. I remember playing that back in the day, and what I did is I just walked along the wires because I couldn't fucking do it even then. So if it's harder now, I'd have no chance of doing it.
Yeah, it's good though. Me and Elliot have got through so many fucking lives and just like game overs already, and we're only on the second island. It's madness. Elliot threw his controller across the room the other day. It was hilarious.
What episode is that so people can go look at it?
Well, I've taken that out, but I've got like 20 minutes of unused footage from when we're trying to get back to the place that we game overed at.
Had enough.
Alright, buddy, what's next?
Right. Okay. Right. Sony get caught superimposing their buttons over Xbox One Anthem footage. It's like for like E3 2017 Anthem footage, and instead of just saying, "Hey, look, we don't have any footage, but it's coming to PlayStation 4," they've just superimposed the buttons over the LB, RB, AB, XY. And it looks fucking awful.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of it now. Unfortunately, the video's been taken down.
Right.
So I can't actually look at the video now, but I'm looking at the picture of it, and I'll put it up on screen for those watching on YouTube. But, oh my days, that's awful.
It is. It's shocking, isn't it? It's like they've not even tried.
That's like...
They've not... Yeah, I honestly think you could have done a better job.
Fuck you.
With everything.
I could have done. That's like an intern's first day. You know, it's like, oh, some kid on work experience has never used Photoshop before. What we're going to do with little Timmy? We need to fucking put this up. Yeah, I'll get Timmy on it. Well, I don't know how to use Photoshop. Figure it out, kid. It's awful, but at least they've taken it down, and they're holding their heads in shame now. They're hanging their heads going, probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't understand why they thought they could get away with that in the first place. Absolutely shocking.
That's well funny though.
Going on to a bit of a sad news. Cuphead will never come to PlayStation 4. It's going to stick Xbox and PC only, which I'm sure will break a few people's hearts that don't have access to a PC or an Xbox One.
So like where Crash Bandicoot getting number 1 was like a big surprise, this is the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Since it got announced, I never thought this was going to come to PS4.
I think a lot of people had their fingers crossed, but in the back of their mind, they knew it was never going to happen, and the developers just come out and gone, yeah, it's not. Like, we can't do that. Because it's basically, I think it's been bankrolled by MSN.
Yeah, I think Microsoft own it. You know, that it's like Crash Bandicoot coming to the Xbox One. Well, the Insane Trilogy coming to the Xbox One. It's not a surprise at all. I do like the fact that they finally come out and said, look, don't give your hopes up. This is never happening. So you can stop asking, you can stop hoping. You can go and buy Crash Bandicoot. I
wonder, like, if they're doing, like, a bait and switch. Do you know, like, a lot of people do, like, Tomb Raider's not coming to PlayStation, and then it's like, no, actually, it is.
No, but even with that, they were like, Tomb Raider, like, exclusively on Xbox One, and that was during the Xbox conference, but then Square Enix came out immediately after.
Actually.
And said, oh, yeah, it's a launch exclusive on Xbox One. Xbox have got it for a year, and then it's coming to PlayStation 4. So that was cleared up immediately, whereas this has been years. Like a good... When was Cuphead first announced, man? That's like, I'm thinking a year, 2 years ago.
I think I was still in primary school. It seems like fucking years ago.
Feels like it. It was announced along with Duke Nukem Forever.
And Half-Life 3.
What's next?
What's next?
Everyone remembers Tekken Tag. I personally don't remember Tekken Bowl.
I do.
Which was an unlockable game in... Was it Tekken Tag?
Tekken Tag, yeah. Tekken Tag.
Tekken Tag 2. So an unlockable game in Tekken Tag is now coming out as DLC for Tekken 7 in August, and I have no idea what it is, and I watched the video for it, and it looks fucking mental. Simon, can you explain to me what's going on?
Tekken Tag had a minigame in it, Tekken Bowling, and you had all the characters. If you ever played Super Monkey Ball Bowling, it's same as that, but with the fighting characters, and they've all got different stats and perks and stuff. You unlocked it by doing so many fights, or I can't remember exactly, but you just unlocked it by playing Tekken Tag. But because this is 2017, now it's paid DLC.
Of course it is.
Paid DLC for an add-on. For something that's, do you know, like a side mode.
Yeah.
Admittedly, a very good side mode. I lost count of how many hours I spent using Brian and his cheap-ass fucking laser scope to get strikes in the PlayStation 2 version of Tekken Tag.
Wouldn't Jack have a laser scope, seeing as he's a robot?
Jack had one. There were some others. I can't remember.
Hang on, Brian was the cyborg, wasn't he? With the...
Brian... With
the red eye.
Yeah, I used to like him because he had snakeskin trousers. Yeah. The reason why I used to pick him, because I thought snakeskin trousers were cool.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, but paid DLC. Like, the thing is, the games are getting carved up, and they're just selling them back to you in parts. So it's not enough that Namco are charging 40 quid for Tekken 7. They want you to buy the season pass or the DLC, in separate parts. It's just, isn't it enough that we've already paid the 40 quid? You know? Like, why are we being nickeled and dimed for something that's it's meant to be part of the game?
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Like, you say it's meant to be part of the game. It was part of Tekken Tag. Yeah, this has been completely remade from the ground up. It looks... I've watched some videos of the original one. Like, this looks much better. Like, you can tell it's been updated. And nickel and diming, for me, the way that I think of it is like character skins, new weapons, just shit. Like, I think it was Street Fighter 4 where it was like buy alternative costumes. It's like, no, they should be in the fucking game.
Yeah, you should be able to
and
walk them.
they were in the game. They were just locked behind a paywall.
Yeah.
But I think a new mode that was built from the ground up, I'm like, depending on how much it is, if they're like Tekken Bowl, 40 quid, I'm like, well, fuck off.
I don't agree with putting stuff in like this. I just don't agree with putting things in that should be part of the main game as extras, Joe, that are to be paid for. It just don't jive with me. I'm not on with that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in a time when we've got like zombies on every Call of Duty game, but then again, that's still just shooting mechanics, isn't it? This is like completely new mechanics and stuff. Like, I personally, I'm never going to play it because I'm not a Tekken player. But if it's only a couple of quid, you know, if it's only a few pounds, fair enough. But if they're asking like 20 quid for it, then yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know what's in the rest of the thing, so I might be getting angry for nothing.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it should just be part of the game. Like, stop fucking, you know, try to prize more and more money out of us. Talking about prizing more money out of us, Xbox One gift a game feature coming soon. People have been asking for it for a long time, and finally it looks like it's coming.
Yeah, so, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
So good, because like game gifting's been a part of Steam for a long time.
Forever, yeah.
And the fact that home consoles, or at least, you know, I'm hoping that with Microsoft doing this, Sony will do it as well, because the sales that Sony have are fantastic. And you know, I've picked up games for like between £5 and £10 that I've wanted friends to play, and it'll make birthdays and stuff a lot easier.
Yeah, sure will. And I think as well, it's making Xbox One more attractive, you know, to prospective new buyers.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, you want your friend to, if you own an Xbox, you want your friend to join you, you can go, hey, look, I'll set you up, I'll get you some games, you know, for when you make the jump.
Yeah, and like going back to Steam and it being how it is on Steam, a friend of mine, Damien, one day just messaged me and he was like, oh, what's your Steam account? So I told him it, and then got a message, boop, Terraria popped in, and he was like, hey, I'm playing this at the moment, thought you'd enjoy it. I was like, oh, wow, like, thank you, man. He was like, no, it's £3, it's like cheaper than a pint. And I was like, yeah, when you look at it that way, you know, you go to the pub, you buy your friends pints, but now he's just bought me a game for something that's cheaper. And like some of the games on, you know, when they're on sale, like I'd happily buy my friend a game.
Yeah, I bought some a couple of years ago on a Steam summer sale. I think I spent like 20 quid buying friends games.
Yeah.
And I must have bought, I think the most expensive one were Borderlands, which were about 6 quid. Borderlands 2. A complete package for 6 quid, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, for that price, I'm not even bothered if he don't play with me. You know? Just, he's going to get fun out of it, so he might as well.
Yeah.
I got Dungeon Defenders. I basically, Joe, just went, hey, look, this is on your wish list. Have fun. Because it's cheap enough and I can afford it.
Now, being realistic, you know, Xbox is never going to be able to match Steam for prices, but still, the ability to give friends games now is great. It's like I said a minute ago. You know, I live in London, my family live elsewhere, my brothers all play games, they have Xboxes, and now it's going to be possible for me to just be like, oh, it's your birthday, here's a game, gift it to them.
Yeah, especially if they've got wish lists and stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully this will now be the start of gifting on home consoles in general. So, well done, Microsoft. You know, this is the second
pushing the envelope, and again, you know,
this is crazy. This is the second news recap that we've done, and also the second one where we're like going, yes, Microsoft, you're doing well. Like, I don't have an Xbox One, but these news stories slowly bringing me around. I'm thinking I might have to purchase one in the future.
What's next?
Okay, up next, we've got some more Andromeda news. It turns out that even 4 months after the game's release, they're still patching it to get rid of the dodgy facial animations. So this story is from Eurogamer, where I quote, "The latest update, 1.9, adjusts camera angles, lighting and mouth animations in a few scenes," end quote. Now I've checked out the video. It should, again, if you're watching on YouTube, video should be playing now. And yeah, the difference is massive. Like, the difference is huge, and it's starting to really look good.
It is. I think the problem with Mass Effect Andromeda is that it released like 6 months too early. And it's damaged the game overall. I don't think it's probably a bad game by any means, but the whole presentation of it and the animations with the walking, where it looks like she's shat
and this
pants.
is the thing, like when you said it's damaged the game, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, apart from the last 2 hours of 3, which is a bag of garbage. But I love the series, and I saw Andromeda, and I said to myself, I will buy this when it's less than 20 quid.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't look like a full price game to me. And I know that I'm not the only person who's thought like that. And you're completely right. An extra 6 months, giving it all the shine that they're giving it now, it would have been a completely different game when it came out. It would have been received completely differently, I think.
I'm in the same boat as you, where I saw it and I was like, is this going to be the game that all my friends are playing? Do you know, when I saw it coming out, and then I was like, there's something not quite right here. Someone I talked to were like, yeah, it looks a bit... they were on about... an interview or like a quick look that they saw on maybe PC Gamer or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, something's not quite right here, Joe. I'm totally put off it now. We got spooked by it because we knew something were wrong, but we weren't quite sure what it was. And then we got the beta, and it were like, was it the beta or was it the 10-hour play?
I couldn't tell you. I've not even bothered trying it.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, that came out and it became a laughing stock. I mean, we got all the people running around looking like they were wearing nappies and just stupid facial expressions and stuff, and it damaged it. It did damage it. There's no doubt about it. And same with something like No Man's Sky, where they've had to work and slave at it and update it and add to it, and they're never going to get it back because that initial bad press is forever. It's a stain. It's never going to come off, you know?
Yeah, but hopefully with all these patches that they're doing, all the improvements that they're making, the game will improve. And hopefully it will find a new audience a bit later on, in summer sales where it's cheaper. The people who are going to be buying it now, especially if they follow games news, they're going to see that all these improvements have happened. Think maybe I'll give it a shot and buy it, and the game that they're getting is a completely improved experience, and maybe that's where it will find its fan base.
I mean, just by watching the video, like the difference, the side by side, you can tell it's improved. Like, it's not immersion breaking now.
Yeah.
And I think just generally quality of life stuff and bugs being patched out.
It's definitely getting to a point where...
what you'd expect a game to be.
Well, where I'm considering buying it, so that's good. So what you got next for us?
Steam banned 40,000 accounts after latest Steam sale.
That is insane.
It is bonkers. Can you imagine as well getting your account banned if you'd spent on it?
Yeah, okay, so again, from Eurogamer, quote, allegedly players were buying these games at a discount on new Steam accounts so they could test the waters for various cheats. Should they get caught and their account banned, they'd still have their main account elsewhere operating normally, end quote. Okay, it wasn't just the side accounts that were banned, it was both. Was it both accounts that were banned?
It's kind of hard to tell reading it. I mean, it does read like both accounts get done.
That's insane, especially considering the number last year in October was 15,227, like over 40,000.
Yeah.
There's some bad people on Steam.
I think just in general, just having to tidy up and stopping people from doing stuff like this, from exploiting the markets, for cosmetic items, because you can make fucking crazy money off there.
Yeah,
like you get people making money off the trading cards and stuff.
The people with the skins on CS:GO and stuff. That's insane.
I mean, the Steam must be making mad money to enforce something like that. So I mean, they're going to look after their own interests. I sort of wish that Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo would do the same. Like, yep, we've caught these people cheating, and that's it, they're done.
Yeah.
And it won't just be an account ban, it'd be a full-on, console ban. Done. We've bricked it, and you're fucking out. Fuck you and you're fucking cheating us.
If you want to cheat some more, give us another 300 quid.
Yeah, and make another gamer tag, and give us another subscription money. Because cheating is for bastards.
Cheaters never prosper.
Especially not in this case.
Yeah. Still, serves them right. But anyway, what's next, man?
Rock Band has got the longest piece of DLC ever in a music game. 17 minutes long.
I love this.
Right.
Inagata Davida by Iron Butterfly is one of my favourite classic rock tunes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is. But that is some fucking length for a song. To be put into a video game. Have you played Rock Band or Guitar Hero or like that?
Not for years and years, but yeah, I'm very familiar with them.
Yeah, so you know what it's like to play those games for any duration of time. Like, I personally used to do the drumming. That was my favourite part of it. Right, my fucking wrists and legs used to ache during playing them. I feel as stiff as a board after drumming on a night Rock Band. But, yeah, 17 minutes. That's a fucking workout. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's such a big fucking song.
Like, my fingers would cramp up if I was doing it on guitar.
Yeah, totally.
That's insane.
And also, on a side note, I did some little bit of checking up on this.
Yeah.
Rock Band 1 came out like 10 years ago now.
Really?
It's been going, about 10 years.
Fucking hell.
About 10 years, and they have released DLC like every week. Almost every week. There's been blips in it, do you know, when they were going through like administration and stuff. And it's not 100% now, but they have done it every week.
Well, not since Rock Band 1, because Rock Band 1 was on the PS2.
No, Rock Band 1 were on Xbox 360.
Was it?
Yep. But the DLC songs were, you could get them through anything you bought on from the your respective network, Xbox Live or PSN, transferred across to the previous game. So like everything you bought in Rock Band 1 transferred to Rock Band 2. You could buy the Rock Band, transfer the licenses from Rock Band 1 into Rock Band 2, and Rock Band 2 into Rock Band, and so on and so forth, you know. So there's fucking thousands of songs. I mean, they've supported that game like an insane amount.
That's amazing. And now you've got one song that is the length of all of the DLC combined.
I bet if you could get like a charity gig together, you could play Rock Band for a solid week, 24 hours a day.
Oh, easily.
Let's go forward. I'm not entirely sure how we pronounce this because I've heard it pronounced different ways, but I'm going to say Moire. Moire comes to an end because people won't leave it alone, and it's sort of done its course. Right, a lot of people won't have heard of this game.
I hadn't heard of this game until you added this news story.
What do you think? Now you know what it is.
I think it's a shame that I know what it is, but B, the only reason I know what it is because it's gone. And that in itself is a shame. Because that sounds like a really interesting idea.
So, for those that don't know, Moire was a game jam game that tells a story that can't be done in music or video or any other medium. It's got to be done in a video game. And what happens is, you pick a guy, you're like on a farm, and you sort of toodle about and stuff, and you come across a farm and he's like, there's screams coming from the cave. And you go, alright, I'll investigate the cave, and you go in and there's like 3 directions, and you have a little bit of an explore about, and you decide to go deeper into the cave. And you meet a person, and he says, you get to ask him 3 questions. And the 3 questions are, why do you have blood on your overalls? Why do you have a knife? I heard moans. What have you done? Anyway, you get a choice after that. You can either let him pass, or you can kill him. But after that, you go deeper in, and you find a woman that's begging for death. She's gone through some traumatic thing, tried to commit suicide, and Joe basically buggered it up. So you get a decision. You can either mercy kill her, or you can turn round and walk out. Right? So if you kill her, you get blood on your overalls. If you don't kill her, she spits blood at you, and Joe gets all angry and shit, and you leave. On your way out, you meet a man, and he gets to ask you 3 questions. Why do you have blood on your overalls? Why do you have a knife? I heard moans. What have you done? And it's at this point you realise that the person that you met going into the tunnels is you coming out.
You mean the person
that you initially think's an NPC
is the player who was playing before you?
Yeah, it's a baton pass. And the questions that you asked him, why do you have blood on your overalls? Why do you have a knife? I heard moans, what have you done? were actually typed in by that person.
The answers were typed in. The
Yeah.
questions are stock, but the answers that character gives you are typed in by the player when they're being asked those questions.
So it sort of turns it onto the head, because you just assume when you're playing games that if you're playing a single player game, that all the people that you meet are NPCs and they're just stock, and the stuff that they're telling you is preset. Whereas in this, it's not until you finish it that you realise that that's not the case. And it sort of tips the game. I never played this game, but I knew what it was. And that sort of made it pointless for me playing, because once you know the twist, it's like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
So why has it been taken down?
It got taken down because people started abusing it. They found out what it was, and they were putting stuff in like, why do you have blood on your overalls? And they do like...
I'm on my period.
Yeah, just basically, Joe, spoil it.
That's really shit.
And fuck the database up. So, because it were a baton pass game, like you're just in a constant death loop, the stuff that people are typing in originally were genuine. But as more and more people got to know what the game was, and they went to play it, it was spoiling and diluting what the game should have been.
So people were like letting you in on what was happening, and
Yeah.
then they were just trolling.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like fucking jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams.
And
all
Bush
shit
did
like this.
9/11, and Hitler did
That's
nothing.
fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking hate trolls, man. Like, what's the point? Seriously, what is the fucking point?
There's none.
Of
There's none.
like how empty must your fucking life be if you can only get a kick out of ruining shit for other people? You know, and this game has now been fucking ruined for people. Like, I would have loved to have played it.
Yeah, just going in blind. If someone had said,
Yeah.
"Hey, give yourself 10 minutes, have a go at this."
But some unfunny asshats are like, oh, I'm gonna fucking...
So
Dickheads,
they spoil
like-
something that gaming can only do, and that's it. It's gone. But yeah, go look into it, my Ray.
All I can hope is that someone is gonna, you know, like what happened with PT,
Yeah,
and after that was taken down, some people took it upon themselves to make their own kind of version of PT. I really hope that someone takes the core idea of this, manages to spin it round into something that, even if you're aware of what Moira is, you go in and play this and you still get completely shocked, and then that can come out.
yeah. It's still open to being tampered with, though, isn't it? Because like as soon as it gets popular,
Yeah, but even if it's out for a little bit and more people get the chance to have that kind of experience, then before it gets ruined for them, then that's a good thing. You know, that's still better than having nothing at all.
But yeah, it got ruined because people couldn't leave it alone, and it's basically got vandalised. It got vandalised to a point where it wasn't a viable cause anymore. And like I said, it had run its course. People knew what it was, and there's not really any point in playing if you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame, really.
Well, speaking of things running their course, the new Nintendo 3DS has been discontinued. Now, just to clarify, that is the new Nintendo 3DS, not the new Nintendo 3DS XL.
Yeah, I think they're sort of winding that up now. Like, I think the 3DS is it's in its twilight years.
Oh, definitely. And the thing is, I don't think that the DS like handheld range is in its twilight years yet, because they've just released the 2DS, or the new 2DS and the 2DS XL, which are fucking beautiful machines. They're absolutely stunning. But I think Nintendo are beginning to realise that the more popular 3DS is the 3DS XL, because adults have big hands, and adults like to play too. Like, my 3DS XL is great, so my new 3DS XL is great. And even my girlfriend has a new 3DS XL, and her hands are tiny, but it just feels better in your hands. And I think that Nintendo realised that no one plays with the 3D on, so there's no point in having 3D in it. So I think the push for the next couple of years at least will be on the new 2DS.
Yeah, they're getting to a point where they know that it's wrapping up. You know, it's run its course, and they'll be looking to push it towards your people into getting a Switch.
Yeah, I reckon it's got a couple of years left at least.
Yeah, well, things usually do, don't they? I mean, even when they're discontinued, they'll still run on. You'll get the diehards that'll support them, and they'll buy everything that comes out, and even though Joe they get down to like the shovelware. But yeah, I think this is a beginning of the end sort of thing, that's coming on.
It's a shame, but if it means that, because at the moment Nintendo are doing this weird thing where they're like, we've got this brand new console here, some games on the old handheld, and it's like, well, if the Switch does well enough, and if the Switch gets supported well enough, that it does just become like the central hub for Nintendo games, where you get the console games and the handheld games on the same thing, as we're expecting it to be. When that finally happens, I'll be fine with the 3DS going.
It's sort of like the death of the Game Boy, innit? When they say, it's going to be the third pillar.
Yeah.
The DS is going to be the third pillar, and the DS, well, that's successful. That it just completely overshadowed, and the Game Boy,
phased out.
Left in the dust. It's sad, but, I mean, that's progress for you.
Yeah, and it's a shame that the 3DS is on its way out. But like I said, I think there's at least a couple more years left in it, and if it means that that there'll be more focus on the Switch, more software on the Switch, then bring it on. What's next?
This is one for you. Toy Story World confirmed and shown off for Kingdom Hearts 3.
I am so happy about this. Like, I've been a Kingdom Hearts fan for longer than I care to admit, and all I've wanted since playing Kingdom Hearts is Pixar levels, and it's taken 16 years so far. By the time it comes out next year, 17 years, but we're finally getting a Pixar level. And it's cool as well because already confirmed for Kingdom Hearts 3 is a Big Hero 6 level. And what they're doing with these levels as well that's really interesting is the Big Hero 6 level takes place after the movie. So it's not trying to retell the story of the film. It's a brand new story that runs like canon to the movie. I won't necessarily call it canon because,
it's like a progression.
Yeah, but it picks up after the movie. And that's great. And you're like, well, what can you do with Toy Story? And apparently this one takes place after Toy Story 2, before Toy Story 3.
Right. So I think the main thing, I'm not a fan of these games. I just don't bother me at all. But the main thing that stands out for me is how fucking nice this looks.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's on parity with the Toy Story films. When you think about what year were Toy Story released?
1995.
95. Right. When that were originally done, I remember watching a show on TV that went through how they made that. And they were like, oh yeah, every frame of Toy Story is like, not hundreds of hours, tens of hours of rendering each frame. And now we're playing games that look as good.
Yeah.
And it's doing it on fly.
Well, you're echoing what Elliot said, and he said the same thing. Like, it's incredible that when this movie came out 22 years ago, we were saying, oh, the future is like, can you imagine video games looking like this? And it's taken 22 years, but they're finally here. And this thing that was taking hours upon hours upon hours to render single frames is now being rendered in real time.
About 6 months ago, we were watching, what is it called? Tangled, Joe, the Rapunzel one. Right. And I was like, man, the hair stuff in that is amazing. Like, that's what games are going to be like. And she were like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, look at the animation on the hair. Like, that's just out of this world. The physics and stuff. And it goes on from watching stuff like Monsters, Inc., with Sully's, like, fur, sort of.
Yeah, taking
animating
forever to animate.
Yeah, and we're getting to a point where that stuff's not going to be far away. Because, like, the curve gets less and less from it being, like, a ridiculously, taking hours and hours to render, to actually being commercial prospect. I mean,
well, it's funny as well that you mentioned Tangled, because Tangled is in Kingdom Hearts 3 as well.
Does it look as good as Tangled?
Probably. I haven't seen any gameplay video yet, but I'm willing to bet that it looks pretty fucking awesome. Like, the only thing that I don't like in the Toy Story 3 world is how Sora, Donald, and Goofy look as toys. Because to me, they just look like old puppets. like the Nutcracker and stuff. They just look kind of stiff and wooden.
Isn't that the point though, that they sort of take on the characteristics of?
Yeah, but they could have been cooler toys. You know, like modern toys or even toys from 22 years ago weren't wooden and stiff. You know, they could have had they could have been cool action or articulated action figures. They could have, they could have been rounded, or they could have had something else. You know, maybe not. You know, Saw as a cowboy and fucking Donald's a space duck or something. They could have done something else. But I'm not a big fan of the kind of old wooden design.
Yeah, you're going back a long time into 50s, 60s.
Yeah, they look like they got shit out of the 1920s, and Woody's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, he's like, even you're fucking old compared to me.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on.
In news no one could have seen coming a mile off, Nintendo's new online service apparently sucks. I've not used it. I'm pretty sure you haven't used it.
I haven't used it.
The people I know that have used it are like, yeah, it's a bit shit, innit?
I don't think there's a single person... Oh, I'll take that back. I think hardcore Nintendo fanboys wouldn't have called it. But apart from that very small community, I don't think there's a single person who knows anything about games who hasn't called or who didn't call the fact that Nintendo's online service was going to be a complete fucking shambles.
It is. I know someone that used that, and they spent God knows how long trying to get it to work, and then they were like, fuck this, we'll just use Discord. And they use Discord to play Splatoon.
I'm going to reiterate what I said in the first news recap podcast, whereas I do think that this is just teething issues on Nintendo Soft because they've never had an online service like this. I think having it in an app is a fucking terrible idea, because then you bring in things like phone battery life. You're going to have, if you have a prolonged gaming session, you're going to have to plug your fucking phone in, and you're going to be using it while it's plugged in, and it's not very convenient. But I do think that the further along we go, the more their online service will improve. But for now, I'm not getting a Switch because the whole thing just sounds like a fucking shambles to me.
I think what Nintendo are looking at with this is, because they want to protect kids, that's the whole spiel with this fucking thing. Right, they look at using a phone as like opposed to like young children don't have phones.
Fucking everyone's got a phone now.
Yeah, but
I don't like the name either. Like Splatnet, it sounds like a fucking porn site.
I know someone that said they should have called it from like Battle.net, Splattle.net.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which sounds even worse now I've spoken it.
Moving on, Simon, what's next?
Dying Light to receive 10 free DLCs over the coming year. Right, Dying Light, 3 years old. They've released some player numbers for it. It's still got like 500,000 people playing a week.
That's crazy.
It's bonkers. Like, I really enjoyed it, but even like me looking at those numbers are like, is this right? Are they like having a bit? Are they taking piss? Like, I can't see why it'd be so popular. It's fun, but do you know, to have such longevity, like, I don't know, maybe it's because it sells cheap. I'm at a loss. I'm pleased that the DLC's coming.
So tell me about this DLC. What are they doing with it?
They're adding new weapons and new mobs and stuff. Like, I don't think it's anything, particularly meaty.
Still, the fact that the game's 3 years old and it's getting support like this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it free DLC
it's
or
free.
is it paid for?
Everything's free.
That's even better. That's crazy. And I think people who don't play but have an interest will see this, and I think this will bring in new players.
It will, yeah. I think as well, is it me or is it just a Polish company's really, really good for this sort of stuff?
Just killing it.
Yeah.
They're killing it right now.
Polish companies, they understand what gamers want. They understand how not to piss people off, how to curry good favour.
If only Nintendo were Polish. So we've got one more story. Take us home.
Friday the 13th, developer Ilphonic aggravates customers by moving on to next game, even though the current one is pretty broken. How much do you know about Friday the 13th, the game?
I've watched a few videos. I saw Jim Sterling's review. Jim Sterling's less than sterling review, if I'm going to be punny. But yeah, that game looks like shit.
See, I think it looks fun if it actually worked
Yeah.
The bits that I've seen, it's like there's a lot of drops and stuff, and it done like it looks the part, and it looks like it feels like Joe plays the part, but it looks completely fucking broken. No. And for them to, move on to the next game without going, you know what, we'll fucking focus on making this actually work, it's bad consumerism, isn't it?
Well, there is an update to this story. Eurogamer got a statement from developer Illphonic that reads, quote, I wanted to address the concerns that Illphonic has abandoned Friday the 13th, the game, for Dead Alliance. This is 100% not true. Most major and independent studios have multiple teams working on multiple projects at the same time. That is critical for the survival of the studio, especially with the ups and downs with the game industry. Dead Alliance was started way before Friday the 13th, the game. It was co-developed by Psyop Games and Illphonic, then titled Moving Hazard. Psyop Games released Moving Hazard to Steam Early Access well over a year ago, and it gained interest for Maximum Games for a console port. We've had a team who remained working on what turned into Dead Alliance for consoles that has always been separate from the Friday the 13th, the game team. Illphonic still remains a small studio to this day, but we are growing. End quote. To be honest, that seems perfectly fair to me. If they had they're a small studio, as long as they've still got people on Friday the 13th working on fixing it, then I don't see a problem with having a separate team who had nothing to do with Friday the 13th in the first place working on something else.
I think it's bad communication in it on their behalf to go, and it's people on the internet getting riled up before actually, looking.
But yeah, I completely agree. Like, they could have and probably should have communicated it better, but at least when Eurogamer reached out, they were quick to respond.
Yeah, which is better than some other companies would do. They just fucking leave it hanging.
Yeah, like literally looking at, I'm on the Eurogamer page now, and it says the original story came out at 1:29 p.m. on the 25th of July.
Yeah, and it same day.
And the update came 7 hours later.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, can't fault it.
So that's the moral of the story. Don't get fucking outraged until you know the whole story.
But it's the internet, innit? It's never going to happen like that. People like a bit of outrage, don't they?
They do that.
But that is your lot for the StrangePlay podcast July 2017 news recap. Was there anything that we missed that you think we should have talked about? Is there anything in here that piqued your interest and you want to talk to us about? If you do, make sure you leave a comment below. You can reach us on Twitter at StrangePlayUK, and you can also join our Facebook page, talk to us there, facebook.com/StrangePlayUK.
And we'll see you in a couple of weeks for Earliest Gaming Memories. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening, or watching if you're on YouTube. Either way, we love you.